Welcome, everyone. A very warm good evening to all of you. So, those who are new, what are these calls about? What are these open discussions about? So, these discussions are interactive sessions. So, it's not going to be a one-way delivery system from that we will be only sharing information from our side. So, you all are welcome to share your stories, experiences, anything about the topic per se, or you can ask your questions whenever you feel. So, how to do that is by raising your hand. You can raise your hand and then we can call your name out and you can share or ask your question. So, let's begin today's conversation. And the topic of today's conversation is sexuality is more than sex. Hmm. So, let me tell you a small story of my own childhood, and not just one story, but this is something which has happened throughout my childhood. And that thing is that I was a very artistic child. I was more interested in doing art, doing something creative, dancing, taking part in extracurricular activities in my school, and doing tons of, creative and artistic stuff. But the family in which I was raised, I was compared all the time by my mother, by people around me. And she would compare me to, all my cousins and how well they were doing in their studies and what kind of marks they would get, what kind of grades they would get. And I was not doing anything compared to them. So I was always told that I would amount to nothing in life. Creativity is not something which can be good for a livelihood. You cannot make money being creative, and that was the story which I was told. Right, and I guess my mom still tells me the same story. She would give me examples of all my cousins who are doing so well in their careers and everything, and she probably still has that okay, being creative is okay, but you cannot earn a livelihood by being creative. Hmm. And the topic is sexuality is more than sex, but why am I talking about creativity? Hmm. Because I want to share with you all that our sexual energy is our creative energy. It is our life force energy. It is an energy which is flowy. It is an energy which is fluid. It is an energy which is expansive in nature. It is an energy through which you can create a baby, through which you can create a painting, you can create a dance, you can create music, you can create anything in the world. So, any creation that happens through the help of the sexual energy. So I'm not saying that all of the creation is all about sexual energy, but if you see that when you get a new idea, when you get a new creative thought, and you see like there's this explosion which has happened inside you, and if you can feel it in your body, you can feel something, some tickly feeling in your pelvis area where you're so excited and where you're so um, feeling so good about it. And that's just the beginning of any idea, any creation, anything um, that comes out. Like it's like an explosion that occurs within us, and that's the beauty of the sexual energy, right? And we are creating every moment some creation is happening through us, right? All the time, 24/7. So whenever we are tabooed either about the creativity that we have inside us, also if we think in terms of the society, whenever we talk about the sexual energy, anything that comes into our head is sex, right? So when we're talking about sexual energy, all the expression, all of the expression that we usually think of that is predominant in our heads, it's about having sex, the act of sex. But if you see, in through religion, through culture, through our family system, through our societal system, as kids we were brought up in a way where even talking about sex is a taboo. So even if there is a married woman and she's married, and and even she feels very uncomfortable. So this is not something which I'm making up. I have spoken to hundreds of women about this, and I've asked them this question, that can you ask for sex from your husband? So he is your husband, but are you comfortable to express that you want to you want to engage with him sexually? And they're like, no, 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 because they are taught that, oh my god, women cannot talk about sex, and even men. So this imprint is not only about women, but this imprint is about both men and women, and what is happening in our life. So the taboos which we have created around the creativity, the taboos which we have created around expression of sexuality in relationship, without the relationship, most women are not even aware of their own bodies. So I have spoken to so many women, and they're not even aware about what an orgasm is and what it feels like, what it could feel like. So the only thing, expression of sexual energy, is just allowing their partners to do to complete the act and get over it, right? So, and a lot of women go through this thing as well, that they're just waiting when this thing is going to get over. So they're just waiting for this, even this small act which happens, that to get over. And so likewise, these are just a few examples, but likewise we create a lot of taboo around sex and creativity and sexuality per se. So anything that builds, so I'm going to highlight like shame and guilt, right? Any shame and guilt which is attached around your expression in life, that creates a lot of blockages, and it suppresses this beautiful energy that we have within ourselves. So regardless we are a male or a female, we all have this energy, all of us. And any taboo that is created which suppresses this energy, so it stagnates and it goes down in the system and it gets suppressed. And just think about it, that I just told the story about my creative side and how my creativity got suppressed. This energy is so powerful. So in different cultures it is called by different names. In Hinduism we call it kundalini energy, and we um, in Taoism, it's called the lower dantian. In other Asian cultures, it's called the hara. So in different cultures, there are different names given to it. In Abrahamic cultures, also there are mentions of the serpent energy, and be it any religion or culture around the world, there is a mention of this thing, because this is such a powerful energy. It can create babies. It's the same energy which has created matter and universe, and anything that you touch around you, anything that is moving around you, it is a part of this creation, right? And think about it, that when we suppress this energy, there is a part of us which we are suppressing and holding and stagnating inside us. So that will not allow us to express ourselves fully and completely. So there is this exercise we do with women, as I personally connect with more women in numbers. And if well, regardless whether it is a men or a man or a woman, if you ask somebody to just go stand naked in front of the mirror, that in itself is a big, big, big task, because we get so disconnected with the body. There is so much shame and guilt within us around this, and it can also come because of the sexual abuse, which is an even bigger blockage when it comes to the sexual energy. And even if you have not encountered any sexual abuse per se in your life, then also, like I said, that when your creativity is totally disregarded, disowned, disrespected by everybody around you as a child, or and all of these things lead to suppressed sexual energy, and that suppressed sexual energy doesn't allow us to perform and express and show ourselves off completely in the outside world. And of course, it doesn't only impact our individuality, but it also impacts our relationships and how we how we express this energy in our relationship with our partners. A lot of people go through this thing that they start indulging into sexual act with many different people, right? Because they are so disconnected with their body that they cannot even feel the kind of impact indulging into this kind of an act with random people would bring to themselves because of the disconnection we have had through the body. So one thing which becomes very clear, that a disconnected sexual energy is kind of at par with disconnection with the body. So this is a little brief about what we are going to talk about in today's session. And we are going to see that we are going to go a little deeper into this topic and how this is a broader, wider topic compared to just the sexual the sex expression of our sexuality. So that was a little bit from my side. Now over to you guys. So any of you would like to share anything, any experience or any story, or how you relate to this energy? So anyone can go ahead. You can just raise your hand and talk.
Um, I can speak if no one has anything to say.
Sure. Go ahead, Suchi.
Yeah, so I just want to add to what Anamika said. I also have been raised with exactly similar circumstances, what you have been raised with, and something more, as in compared with everyone. And then have always heard like something shameful about the sex or such activities from my mother, or this is how I've looked to it. So I've always been filled with the feeling of guilt and shame around it. So yeah, I also have experienced all this, and I
Yeah.
wasn't even aware, like before meeting you and getting to know from you only, that sexuality is not about sex. So, and that's, and I related to it later on that yeah, it's not about sex. It is more, it's more than just about sex. Because I too have never been even creative. I've never been creative, and being I relate more to more being a feminine. I feel I'm more of, I have a feminine core, but still I never experienced creativity inside of me because of these blockages. Really.
Yeah. Yeah. And what you're saying, Anna, Shachi, what you're sharing, a lot of people actually go through this because we don't even have that awareness कि ऐसी कौन कौन सी हमारी लाइफ की चीजें होंगी जिनको suppression of sexual energy would be impacting,
Yeah,
because we don't even have an idea कि how this is connected to like literally everything.
and I am the living example for it. Like किसी और का तो मतलब I am the one जिसको पता ही नहीं था ये सब, like who wasn't aware that so many things it is impacting. I always used to crave like why I'm not creative, why I'm not creative.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Seema, you want to say something?
Yeah, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
So, what Suchi was saying, I could relate to it because I've been in that place in my own marriage where sex used to be more of a shame. And then, discussing it with my mother because I didn't understand what was like exactly I was feeling, or why I used to start feeling guilty. And so a lot of shame used to be around it. A lot of guilt used to be there because I was feeling something else. My body was feeling something, and I was doing something else. So, there was a total disconnect, and it kept happening for a very long time, and till the time that I decided that I will not have sex with my husband because it was a very painful place to be, both emotionally, mentally, and physically. So I stopped having it, and I think when I stopped having it, I created a big block because when Sachi was saying that creativity, and you also, Namika, your creative expression gets blocked. And I feel whether it's a man or a woman, we all have that energy. Then I came across Tantra, and I even read Vigyan Bhairav. Okay, it's a beautiful book. It's to be understood at a later part. For many people, it will be like what I'm talking about. So just to speak in a layman language, I would say ki through Tantra, I realized that sex is not or your sexuality is a very beautiful place, a beautiful expression that each individual holds, and there is nothing to be feeling ashamed of or guilty about. It's a way of you expressing whatever you feel, and when I started reading about Tantra and more curiosity, I realized it's the most beautiful, or you should say, most powerful place where the highest form of energy is formed by the two individuals in the act of sex, because we are able to give a birth to another beautiful life. So it's nothing to be shameful of. And I know that still in India it's a taboo to talk about sex. People, women specifically, men specifically, are not able to talk with their parents. So it is a taboo, and it's like I feel it should be very easily spoken about and expressed. When it coming from the parents, it becomes very something very normal. So when in my so I'm going to share an example. My son's school started the sex education, and most of the schools are doing. So many parents were like, not at all in favor of it. To me, it was a very new thing because in our childhood, we never thought of something. But I was very curious to understand what they're going to explain. And so I myself was also like reading certain things, that if your child is going through a sexual, education in the school, that what kind of questions can come up. So what I realized was that when my son came back home and he had certain questions around sex and his sexuality, there was no such kind of a hesitation or some hindrance in my mind that, oh, I have to talk to my son. And I was glad that he was asking, and I was able to answer him in my best capacity. And I think it's a very good thing because it's like the curiosity that you want to know about different things in your body or what it is. So I feel that more and more parents, if they open up with their kids, make it normalized than, making it like a something not to be talked about, or is it shameful to talk about. I feel sometimes that Indians are very hypocrites. Like they want to talk everything what happens in the bedroom, not to be talked openly, when it's a beautiful expression, and people would be more. I think partners will be more connected to each other, because I think maybe sex is an act, but it actually, connects to human beings. And that is also somewhere a base of their relationship. How much you are able to express to each other. I don't know if I'm going out of the topic, but this is all I wanted to share.
You wonderfully shared a lot of things. So, yeah, I mean, even if we talk about just the sexual expression within a relationship, then it's not something which just starts with 10 p.m. on the bed inside the room. It is something which is supposed to go on 24/7. So, um, everything can be an expression of your sexuality in your relationship, like getting a treat for your partner, right? Just holding their hands, or when they're cooking, you just go and cuddle with them, you just kiss them, you just express it. And that is something, and that expression can be in many different ways, right? It doesn't have to be only about having sex, right? But that's how we are taught. So couples are so uncomfortable, even married couples are like so uncomfortable, and it's like no public display of affection. But I guess yes, some of it is actually healthy, and it actually um, creates that connection, right? So be it the connection with whether you're married or unmarried, right? So feeling that connection through expressing healthy sexuality is a way of enhancing this energy. So it's not just that this is only about expressing, but this improves people's sex lives as well, because now they're seeing it from expansive perspective, rather than just seeing this as an act to get over with. Yeah, Vanshika, you want to say something?
Yeah, hi Anamika. So I was listening to you and Seema, and I could so very well relate to so many things. I had this question in mind. We have always been in our culture, it's said that don't just go and have sex with anybody or anyone you don't connect with, because here we are also talking about energies, right? So I wanted to ask, like looking at the current generation and the things that have been changing. So we have multiple partners. I have known people who have been going, having not sex in the sense sex as an act, but getting connected and exploring with multiple people. So how does it affect you mentally, emotionally? I wanted to ask you that.
Yeah, thank you for asking that, Vanshika. So the thing is that it's not, I wouldn't go in the direction of right or wrong, but I would go more in the direction of awareness. Like Seema mentioned Tantra, right? So in Tantra, this is considered very sacred, right? So until and unless you have connected with the sexual energy inside you, and if you're disconnected with it, then you could have sex with like so many people around, and it's going to create tons of consequences. Because you're going to create a lot of karma around it, a lot of because a lot of energy exchange happens when you um indulge in any kind of sexual activity with someone, right? And the thing is that you're so disconnected with your body, you're not even going to feel it, and you're going to be like, oh, nothing is happening. But that in itself is the sign of disconnection, right? So, first becoming aware and grounded with your own energy, understanding it. And once you've gotten that understanding, even a little bit of it will make you automatically avoid using this energy, so irresponsibly. Like here and there, you're just just hooking up and just doing random stuff. Mm, So, that random stuff actually does not help. And if it is done in awareness, it's a different story. Once you're aware and you know who you're getting into a relationship with, who the person is, what the connection is, and then you're indulging into it, that's a different story. So a lot of people are there even in Tantra, so they don't go by the saying of monogamy per se. They are non-monogamous, and that's totally okay, because they are pretty well established in their own sexual energies, right? And then they are exploring it for all different purposes. That's a different story. But if you're unaware, if you are disconnected, and still you're going and going out and doing all of these things, it's just going to create more karma and more, consequences around it. So it's not healthy and not recommended at all. Yeah. Yes, Shuchi.
Yeah, it was a good point. And apart from this, I want to add one more thing. It's not related to what you've discussed right now, but it's related to sexuality and sex. So one more thing, like that Seema was telling about his her son, right? That they are started receiving sex education in the school and how they are discussing and how important it is. So I just felt the need to highlight one more point around it is how important it is to discuss openly, because why it got blocked for many of us, like because it has been portrayed in a way that it's a taboo, or it's something to be ashamed about and be filled with guilt, and it has done more harm to us than the benefit. And more to it, like one more thing she had said, that Indians are very hypocrite. Yeah, many people could be hypocrite, and that's so true, because in childhood also I've seen like many uncles or relatives or people around, like preaching sanskar out of it, right? Like they were too sanskari to discuss all this, or like their faces around such discussion, and how double standard all they are. And among them are some people who are very showing the sanskar. I'm not pointing specific people, but in general I've seen among those sanskari people only were going out and molesting a young girl over the road. And why I'm saying this, that I have been molested many times on the road, and I don't think there is any girl like who hasn't experienced something like this while she was young. So and this is a very, it holds very important it is very important for me, and I felt the importance because it has also created many blockages inside of me and many of the girls. So so this is also very important to be and for those people as well, like who were preaching sanskar and doing it outside, like abruptly, or I don't know what it has how it has affected their mind as well, like what kind of people they have, what kind of psychopath they have become. So yeah, like it is important to be open about it, so that only will benefit and grow us and evolve us in better ways. So I just felt the need to put this point, if it
Yeah,
has added any
yeah.
value.
I No, I agree to what you're saying, Shachi, because see, the thing is that if you imagine an island where everybody was naked, there would be nobody raping each other. So I'm not
Yeah,
suggesting that we should create an island like that, right? But
yeah,
uh, the simple thing is कि जिस चीज को जितना ज्यादा suppress किया जाता है,
छुपाएंगे, राइट,
हाँ, वो चीज उतनी ही ज्यादा in wrong forms it comes out,
एग्जैक्टली,
because this is something which is naturally given to us. Just imagine, like the biggest creation is giving birth to a baby, right? So it is
yeah,
so natural to us, and suppressing something which is so natural is going to create like uh, personal repercussions, like you have gone through, I've gone through, maybe a lot of people on this call have gone through, both men and women. And
yeah.
it
I haven't
creates
any,
kind of, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, it
So
creates
I
kind of
haven't
a
seen any of my
collective
friend.
mhm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sorry.
No, no, go ahead, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to add a small point. I haven't seen any of my friend, like girlfriends, who who haven't experienced some or other kind of molestation. Like even if it is minor one, but no girl I haven't seen any girl who has said no, any nothing of that sort happened to me on the road. No one.
Yeah, yeah, Suchi, because I think a lot goes behind, if we say on the collectives and masses. sex and sexuality is still a big taboo, and it's more taken as women more are taken as like a commodity or a
Yeah,
product.
as a sexual object.
Understand that attractions, I think attractions are pretty much natural, whether it's a man or a woman. But then the way they've been taught to the kids is more of coming from a place where women are treated to be some commodity, and you have to be like, um, I mean, that's why I feel molestation and the idea about the, attraction is also not coming from a very right mindset, but coming out of maybe from a shame and guilt and maybe
Yeah,
hypocrisy,
yeah,
or maybe because it's going from generations to generations. And as far as today's generation is concerned, they are doing a big damage to themselves because see, it's again a conscious choice that you can have multiple partners, but then when you're making that choice, if you are stable enough and you know that what you are going into, like if you are exchanging your energy, you know that it's an energy exchange. It's just not like a, okay, I'll just hook up with somebody and gone. No, maybe yeah, for them it is like that, but rightly because they don't have a knowledge behind it, that what they are getting into it. Since you get that knowledge, then I don't think so. Like after healing, you won't be able to attract wrong partners. After certain things that you are aware of, you won't be able to go hooking up with different people, because you very well know that this is the highest form of energy that you're going to exchange. It's going to not only hamper you emotionally or physically just for the pleasure, but it's actually you are getting involved with the person, other person in all levels.
yeah, yeah. Right, right, Seema. And why I got brought this topic of molestation in between, like because we are discussing about sexuality, I felt very important, like because that is one of the part like which blocks it, sexuality. That's why I brought this topic. I felt the urge
Definitely,
to.
I agree with you because I, in my childhood, was molested by my cousin brother, where I even didn't understand what sex is or sexuality or what molestation is. So
Hmm.
when I approached in my family, of course, to my mother, there was a lot of shame around it and a
Yeah,
lot of guilt. And because of that, for a very long time, I felt that I was the one who was at fault, so I carried a
exactly.
lot of guilt. Same
Yeah,
happened in my abusive marriage when I approached her. She said the same answer. So, it blocks you because you start feeling guilty for nothing and you're blocking
exactly.
yourself. But thankfully to me, Tantra came so I could be aware about it. But many people are not aware about it. And this is something that everybody should be aware about themselves. Like it's like emotional health and your physical health and mental health, everything. One should be aware about their sexuality and sex also. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, in e-learnings there is love language. Many people doesn't know that. Even I was not aware about it. So,
Yeah.
it goes.
And even I think one more thing I want to add is one should not see sexuality like we should start getting awareness on. Sorry for using the word should, but I was just feeling to say this that I wish like people will start seeing sexuality as a natural
Of
form
course,
of
they
expressions
should.
of feminine. Because
Yeah.
even I used to be very judgmental about it. Like seeing a
Mm-hmm,
woman who is like she's just I feel she's very into her feminine or she's looking sexual. So I used to be so judgmental because of my own blockages, and that's how I feel
mm-hmm,
men would perceive women. And then men around me used to comment about those women in wrong ways, and that is what used to feed my mind in wrong ways. And
mm-hmm.
so, yeah, how damaging it is. And like it fuels my heart even right now. It is. So,
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think a Karma and Anamika can throw more
yeah.
light on it.
Yeah.
No, I really want to highlight a very beautiful point that Seema shared. What happens with most of us, women as well as men, that whenever, because as children, when you are getting through that puberty phase, you just, you're 12 or 13, and your sexual energy is all, all like coming up, and then everybody's saying that, oh, don't think about it, don't talk about it, don't. And in case things like these happen, where such situations come up in the family, or a case happens where somebody gets molested or abused by somebody, and they start feeling it is their fault, because even if they go and talk to somebody about it, especially women do it with their mothers. I have done it with my mother, and my mom just didn't care enough about it. So what I was hurt about was not just that that happened with me, but I was more hurt about that my mom didn't give a fuck about it. She didn't care, and I have seen so many women go through this. So this shows us the wounding that is there, and that is being passed through generations and generations. And sometimes even women are told that, maybe you did something wrong, maybe your etiquette was not right,
Oh my God,
right?
so apt. Yeah, true, true.
And it's so painful and it's so hurtful, because this is a personal story with so many women, and this is also a collective story being passed on. And the kind of education men get when they are growing up about sexuality, oh god, it's so horrible and painful to see, right? Because me and Akarma, we was just talking about this some day back, that porn industry is bigger than any other industry across globe. And the kind of information that the kind of sex education people are getting is through porn industry. Seriously, I mean, uh
Wow, that's too much. Mhm.
yeah. Yeah, so
That's so
it's all kind of,
damaging. That's so
that
damaging.
yeah, it is, because it gives us rise to some unrealistic expectations. So two things are happening, that people are getting disconnected from their natural side, what their natural expression of sexual energy was, and they are getting connected to something very unnatural, something which is kind of like really damaging. So everybody is going through their own stories, men and women, and along with that, collectively, it's kind of a loop going on, right, where we are enforcing the same things over and over again, passing it on to generations. And hearing something like this from your mother is I guess more painful than anything else. And this is not just about me, but this is the story of so many women, so many women. Yeah. Yeah, Ambuj, you want to say something? Uh, Ambuj, you're on mute.
Yeah, so I've been listening to this conversation for some time, and I can see that it's getting more and more women centric. But even men face issues with the kind of issues which all of you ladies are mentioning. You know, where uh, they not all boys see porn. Number one, and sometimes even just talking to a girl can be very shameful experience because of the way that that person may be treated around. So what I'm trying to say is it happens not just with girls and women in childhood, but it can happen with boys too, and that can affect their perception of sexuality.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I couldn't agree more. I respect that.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Same here. Very true.
Yeah, yeah. So thank you so much for adding that, Ambuj, because like we totally understand that, right? That men are going through, because not all men are like that. Not all of them want to express their sexuality like that. But and a lot of men I've seen are very gentle and are very nice, and they are like good men. But then because of this suppressed sexual energy in them as well, there's a lot of shame and guilt inside them. So So even they are like, when they're getting into the sexual act, and they are like so shameful and guilty, that it's not just the women who's feeling that, okay, this is something to get over it. It's the men also who is like, "Ki, oh, this is not a good act, so let us just finish this thing." Yeah, yeah. So that shame and guilt, because this energy is more embodied um, in the physical form. So because it is more embodied in the physical form, so it has nothing to do with a man or a woman. The repercussions and the even the people who are molesting, that in itself is a sign of a disturbed sexual energy, a disturbed sexual drive, right? So even their energies are suppressed.
True. Absolutely right.
Yeah, yeah.
And if I think we are talking about two related but different things here. One is expression of sexuality, and second is uh, people who do molestation or involved in such acts, or the other side of it, the victims of such acts. So I think that is still something different than actual sexuality. There's a lot of predatory behavior in there, a lot of anger, frustration, a lot of other emotions and blockages maybe uh, causing someone to involve in such acts or do such acts. I think there is a lot of research done on why some men get involved into do predatory behavior like molestation or rape or anything, and the sexual desire or the lack of it was definitely not one of the reason. It was always about the power dynamics, punishing someone, expressing the anger and rage rather than anything else. So I think it is still a little bit different than sexual energies or the channeling of or proper management of it.
Yes, yes. And what you are talking about now, Tejas, that exactly is the sign of suppressed sexual energy. Because they become so disconnected with their own everything, not just with the body, but like own everything, that the only thing that remains for them to feel maybe alive or feel whatever is through these kind of things, right? But if they were actually connected with this sexual energy, they wouldn't be doing things like that, because in that sense it would mean they're connected to their bodies, they're connected to, because if they're connected to their bodies, they cannot harm another person's body, because they're so disconnected to their own body. They have the what should I say, the will to harm or give pain to other people.
Yeah, yeah,
So this is all actually what should I say, uh, outer manifestation of the same energy. So the shame and guilt. So at the base level, if you go and see all of these people doing it. So if I give you an example of Hitler, right? So Hitler was a person who killed like so many people in war, but he was literally vibrating at the level of shame and guilt. So there could be different manifestations out there. There are two repercussions that happen to this, how we pass it on. People who are doing all of these things also have suppressed energy, and people who are at the receiving end, they actually create more blockages in them, because like Seema shared, because they start feeling that they are at fault. It was their mistake. They did something wrong, right? So regardless of man or women, right, it just and if you see at the vibrational scale, if you just see at the emotional vibrational scale, uh, yeah, shame and guilt are way below anger. So anger is still a better frequency compared to shame and guilt. Shame and guilt is the most painful place to be in, right? Because at that, when you are operating at the level of shame and guilt, it's the densest and lowest and most painful frequency level to be in, and it's everything. So that is why people go through depression, right? So if I take example of this happening, then the person who is at the receiving end is also going through it because of that, and the person doing it is also going through it. So both are operating at the level of shame and guilt. Hmm. And um, I mean, if I explain it at the level of the vibrational scale, maybe the only way for an abuser is to, why he or she would be doing it, only to get a little bit above this scale, because that is the only thing they have, probably, right? So that for some moment they can feel better. Be it even because I'm telling you, anger feels way better than shame or guilt, way better, right? So that's that. Yeah, Viresh, you want to say something?
Hey, hey, Anamika. Very good discussion. I think what Ambuj brought this up at the right time. From a boy's perspective, right, or men's perspective, what I have experienced is mostly through our schooling, we have been asked to suppress, right? Like the example Ambuj gave, even in high school, expressing love for somebody, which comes naturally, is seen as a huge mistake. And when somebody sees it, it's seen as a huge social stigma. We suppress it so much, in fact, that for me personally, till I reached college or my first relationship, I didn't know how to express this part of mine, right? And all of the knowledge or the thing that we learn is through internet and these things, obviously, and which is very skewed. So actually, I didn't even know that there was an emotional side to all of this sexual expression till actually I got into a relationship once. And uh, like, yeah, like all of the things that you right, the skewed mind, definitely at some point I could sense it within myself. And like looking back, all of those came from a point where a lot of these energies were suppressed for very long time. Yeah, thanks for that uh, uh, discussion about energies, Anamika. Definitely that shame part of thing I could relate a lot. Yeah, thanks a lot.
Yeah, thanks, Viresh. Yes, and I totally agree with you guys, because there are women who are narcissistic. There are also women who are molesters. There are also women who abuse their power, and there are all sorts of women too, right? And that is the point that I want to bring across, that the whole feminine energy is suppressed in the system itself, in the collective itself. So all of the women and men who are on the wounded masculine side, they will do abuse of power, right? And all the people, all the men and women who are on the wounded feminine side would feel victimized about it, right? And both are both. So that is why when we talk about the feminine and masculine energies, it's not about men or women, right? So wounded feminine and wounded masculine energies can exist in both, right? And when like in the last discussion when we had, when the natural feminine is suppressed, if you see a lot of women, so women also mostly are operating from their wounded masculine side a lot, while that is a bigger problem. Why it is so apparent in nature to us? Because most of the women, I wouldn't say 100% of the women, but most of the women were given a natural imprint of more active feminine side. But they suffer more because they are now being imprinted with the more feminine blueprint. So the feminine has been suppressed, a lot throughout the years, hundreds and maybe thousand years or whatever. I don't know the exact number, but that is the whole problem in itself, that this energy is being suppressed. And your sexual energy, your creative energy, your life force energy is more feminine in nature. So even if you read the mythology and read the uh, um, let's so I don't want to condemn any religion per se, but if you just go and listen to the Eden Adam and Eve story, So it was Eve, right, who took the apple and then she gave it to Adam, and both of them were banished from the garden. So this has been going on from years and years and years, and it was all Eve's fault. Hmm? And that Eve is not a woman, that Eve is the feminine inside both man and women. So the problem is, like Shuchi gave a very good example, that whenever she would see women who are open in expressing their sexuality, and women who are open with, being graceful and being beautiful, and who are more expressive in nature, she would feel very uncomfortable. You know why? Because her masculine was suppressing her feminine. So this occurs with, like, literally
Right.
most of the people on earth. Yeah. And that's the struggle which we all are going through. The taboos which are there, be it the taboo of suppressed creativity, be it the taboo of suppressed sexual energy, be it the taboo of sex. The masculine inside us is suppressing the feminine inside us. Why? Because the feminine is something which lives in the body, which she is more expressive. She expresses through the body. She is so grounded, and she's so flowy and fluid, and she's so beautiful and graceful, and she's there, like she's the energy of which is open and receiving in nature, right? And we most of us operate from the masculine imprint, right? So that is the whole issue that has been going on. Yeah. So that was there from my side. Yeah, Rosalind, you want to say something?
Yes. Hi, everybody. I was just listening about the point where everyone was mentioning about the social stigma and about the shame and guilt. I believe that sometimes, apart from the society, even uh, religious institutions, they also contribute a lot in creating such stigma. For example, I belong to a Roman Catholic family, and Sunday church goers, and studied in a missionary school where we have catechism classes. So in the Bible, it's mentioned that marriage outside, what you call, sex outside marriage is a sin. But then the thing is that what it means to say, it's the adulteration, but it's been interpreted in a wrong way, and we have been taught that way, that you should not get involved in sexual acts before marriage. Of course, it doesn't stop us, but the thing is that I tell you, when I moved from my house to a different city for my education and then for work, when I first got involved in sex or such activities, I was feeling that guilt in me, and I we have this concept of confession. So I went to the priest and I confessed, but later I realized that I think it shouldn't be, because when I started interpreting the Bible and what it says, and also getting to read from various sources, so then I got to know that it's how they have been putting this in our mind. But I think which is a very I just realized that it's a very wrong thing that have been it been instilled on us.
Yeah, yeah. And the thing is that it's not about, basically the religion per se, because if we just see the words of the enlightened being, maybe be it Christ, or be it Buddha, or be it Muhammad, or be it Krishna, whosoever. So the problem is not in their words. The problem is in the interpretation and what
Right.
is being passed on through generations and generations.
Yes, agree.
Yeah, yeah. And that becomes, our blueprint, and leading to tons of suppression inside us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Sarika, you want to say something? Right. Yes, guys. So that was that about the sexual energy. And The thing is that sexual energy, if we do not work and open these blockages of the sexual energy, it is without even our awareness, because we may not think that it is impacting our life directly, because again of another mindset that it is related to sex, and if our sexual life is okay or it's going fine, these blockages can impact literally every area of our life. So this work is fundamental in nature when it comes to working on your sexual energy, because that is your fundamental energy in nature itself. So working on it becomes like really crucial. Yeah,
Yeah,
Ashwini, you want to?
Namika.
Yes, yes, Sarika, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I was just speaking on mute that time.
Oh, okay. I thought you
Yeah,
yeah, you
I mistakenly, clicked that hand raise button and started speaking.
okay, okay.
Yeah, so hi everyone else also. So I just wanted to add on to all the discussions that have been going on for so long, and especially what Seema said a while back, that it has been such a taboo that people, and especially women, and yes, the men also, that they talk about sex, they discuss in a healthy manner about sex. So I believe the blockages that you were just talking about are a result of that also. I don't know if I'm completely correct here or not, but because I say this from my own experience, because since childhood, what our Indian society has been like, more or less, people have been trained, or the bringing has been like that, that this thing is not to be discussed much. Much तो बहुत बड़ी बात हो गई, even not should be talked about also. तो वो इतना सप्रेस हो जाता है कि जहां पर बात करनी चाहिए या डिस्कस करना भी चाहिए, वहां पर भी लोग नहीं कर पाते हैं, because out of habit or out of what training their mind has been receiving from decades of years. So be it be before marriage also, be it be after marriage also, but अभी भी लोग बात भी नहीं कर पाते, and once they बात नहीं कर पाते, तो I have experienced this personally कि we I have read about it, we have been discussing about it in various calls, that sex is a very pleasurable thing, and I mean in a very healthy way. लेकिन people are not able to you know take that pleasure, feel that pleasure, so they thus do not feel complete within themselves, because उनकी mindset ऐसा हो गया है अभी तक कि this is something not completely correct, or you don't have to express that much completely, किसी को express नहीं करना है, be your husband also. I'm sure not 100 out of 100 people go through that, but I'm sure majority of us go through that. So we really need to get into these kind of conversations, discussions, and even train our next generation that this is something very healthy. कहाँ पर वो fine line आती है when things go wrong, and especially thanks to this porn industry, all the education is going in a very wrong way. तो इसके पहले कि वो हमारे नेक्स्ट जनरेशन को इम्पैक्ट करें, उसके पहले हमें खुद पहले तो एजुकेट होना पड़ेगा कि वी टेक दिस थिंग इन अ वेरी हेल्दी मैनर, सही से खुद एजुकेट हो जाएं, और फिर आगे के लोगों को एजुकेट करें दैट दिस थिंग इज टू बी टेकन केयर ऑफ. आप सही से इसका प्लेजर क्यों नहीं ले पाते हो? बिकॉज आपका खुद का माइंड ब्लॉक्ड है, एंड आई थिंक बहुत सारे लोगों की जिंदगी इसमें बीत जाती है, डू नॉट अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट इट इज. That's it I wanted to add.
No, that's true. Totally, I agree. क्योंकि इट्स ऑल बचपन में ऐसा होता था ना कि हम टीवी देख रहे हैं एंड देयर इज दिस सीन व्हिच कम्स अप एंड पीपल वुड कॉल, अरे वल्गर सीन आ गया, ये तो गंदी चीजें करते हैं, ये तो गंदा है, सब कुछ गंदा है, क्या कर रहे हैं, कुछ नहीं, हीरो एंड हीरोइन आर किसिंग ईच अदर, बट ये तो गंदा है, ये तो वल्गर है, दिस इज बैड. And at that point of time, the child does not understand that, but subconsciously उनका ये mindset तो develop हो गया ना कि नहीं, ये चीज ही गंदी है, right? This is bad, this is vulgar. And see, our basic instinct, मतलब अगर हमारा survival instinct हम देखते हैं, so that instinct is to be accepted by people, and we all want to be accepted in the first place as humans. और हमें ये लगता है ना, ये गंदी चीज अगर हम कर लेंगे ना तो हमें एक्सेप्टेंस नहीं मिलेगा, then our parents, people would think that we are bad people, right? And that's,
Exactly.
yeah, that's the kind of mindset we grow up with, that this
Not
is
just
bad.
our childhood, अभी भी ऐसे होता है. I mean, in my own
हाँ.
family, I have my own daughter, और ऐसे ही होता है. I still do not know the exact right way how to deal with it. I mean, if it is just a kissing scene for say, so how should it be dealt with it? अगर हम उसको criticize करने लग जाएंगे, that is definitely not the right way out. But I think it should be, ऐसे नहीं करना चाहिए. But then क्या करना चाहिए? I'm not sure.
And
Yeah.
to add to it, I think normalize, when we say normalize, it has to be we ourselves need to educate us, and then the maybe the generations to come over. I also feel when Ambuj was saying, I think whether it's man or women, girl or a boy in the teenagers, मैंने नहीं देखा कि कभी if a girl likes somebody and the girl approaches somebody, it's taken in a healthy way. It's actually tagged in a very bad way. That the girl is very chalu. Oh, she is like this and that. I mean, why can't it be normalized that two people just like each other, whether it's a gender? Why there has to be a gender involved? In the sense ki why anybody can like anybody in a and what it has to do with
Exactly.
approaching it?
And
No?
just to add to it, Seema, like even for sex, it is true. एक dialogue है the movie, the famous movie, प्यार का पंचनामा में, कि when a woman offers sex to you or just has sex with
Yeah.
you, it is taken like a favor she is giving to you. So
Yeah,
this
and
is such a
more,
true
yeah.
dialogue.
Yeah, because it's coming from the basically from a particular mindset, the particularly kind of trainings that we or the belief and the conditioning. And I believe a lot goes like Rosalina was saying. I think it's not even one religion, it's many. Altogether, if you say many factors are, catering to this shame, guilt, and the wrong kind of upbringing, and in the sense, sex on the whole should not be taken as a taboo, but should be normalized to talk about it. And because, the more you hide it, the more it aggravates and it makes a curiosity around it. And I think that is a very big factor. Because of it, men, boys feel that pata nahi aisa kya hai na. So they get, the more you suppress something, you get more curious about it. So I think,
And जो फिजिकली जो हमने अभी हिस्ट्री में देखा है कि मे बी विमेन आर रेप्ड एंड ऑल दैट, शायद ये ऐसी पिक्चर पोर्ट्रे हो रही है कि विमेन मोस्टली आर विक्टिम्स, बट व्हाट पर्सनली आई
no,
फील
no,
कि
men also go
equally,
through the
yes,
same.
go through, and
Silently they go through.
at a
Yeah.
mental and emotional level they are more of a victim than women, because again the same story, अगर किसी एक ने कुछ गलत किया भी है, the whole group of men is looked upon like that, कि ये तो like इसकी नजरें ऐसी हैं,
The
ये
voice
इसके
is
दिमाग में
gone.
ये चलता
Am I
है,
on?
like that.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Seema, you're saying something because we cannot hear you.
Are you able to hear her? Anybody?
Uh, I could hear Sarika completely.
Okay, I couldn't. Her voice just,
Okay, okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
so
I was
I
saying,
was,
Seema, I suppose you're able to hear me now.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, so I
Yeah.
was just telling कि जितना women victimize होते हैं, उतना ही emotional और mental level पर men are also victimized, because they already feel sometimes maybe guilty or afraid of something that they haven't even done or not even thought of, just because some other man or boy has done that. So
Yeah,
this is the tragedy of the society जो
That's
बन
true.
yeah.
गई है.
And the opinion of women are taken more compassionately in comparison to of men. Uh, that is another challenge with them. I assume.
I think it should be the new, if we all want to have a new normal, it should be like not gender bias. It's a beautiful expression. Like we are able to express our emotions, we should be able to express our sexuality and whatever feelings, because it's about the expression of your desires to your partner. in the intimate moments. But if we are having blocks, and if we have that been trained with this mindset that it's a taboo, then believe me, sex is not just like 10 p.m. on what Agnamika was saying. It's an act where it starts to you it's about the entire day activity, how your relationship was the entire day. That comes that's also a base of it. But if you people are disconnected with each other, and then this taboo is also there, then I don't think so people are actually getting connected in a beautiful intimate manner with each other, where the just the emotionally I mean, there is a freedom of expression, but they are coming out of more sometimes men. I think they also have a pressure of performance, and women doesn't feel connected, they are not able to express themselves. So I think both the parties are doing, for me, I call it as a duty sex, where it's like you just have to do it. And so there is a big disconnect in the relationship, I feel. If Because it's a big part of it, relationship, where you want to cuddle a person, where you want to express them. If you're not able to, then I don't know what to say about it. But because I've been to that place, when you are so physically disconnected with the person, you're emotionally also disconnected. So you I think you are not in place of like in terms, it's like more of a just a normal person staying with you, and you just having conversations and nothing else involved, no emotions, no feelings, means you're not involved with each other.
Yeah, yeah. Vanshika, two people raised their hand. Yeah, Vanshika, you want to say something?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that when Seema was talking about especially having that connection in marriage, so I also had this kind of abusive relationship. So my ex always used to feel ashamed of me when I used to express my sex desires, whatever fantasies, or I used to tell him, and then he will tell all sorts of bad things and everything. So in some time I was like so disconnected, and he always used to tease me. He started comparing me. So we had a male cook in our house, in his house. So even if I'm cooking in the kitchen, he will start, doubting on me that you are having a relationship with this person because you only know how to, you think only about sex and everything. So it was so. After coming back to my parents' place, it was such a big thing for me in the sense coming out of this thing, coming out of this kind of shame and guilt. And I feel somewhere sometimes I still feel that, the way I was put down and I was made like, oh, you are a very bad person because you have these kind of fantasies, or you only think about sex and everything. So I just wanted to share that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, thank you so much for sharing, Vanshika. I mean, yeah, it takes a toll on you completely. Yeah, Ambuj, you want to say something?
Yeah, I want to say this entire thing of suppression, it is rooted in human civilization itself. Because civilization doesn't require that people openly indulge or talk about the subject. And so various institutions have sort of conspired knowingly or unknowingly to do what we call as suppression. So what has happened now is that there's no language. People like Vanshika, the example she gave, one needs to be very sensitive to their when they are listening about sex or talking about sex, that the other person is not judged. Now that sensibility we as a human race, or at least Indian human race, does not have. Maybe in other countries, in US and Europe, it's more open society. Maybe we see in movies, it's very normal. But I think we are indirectly referring to cultures like we have in India or other such countries. So what is needed probably is a language, is a sensitivity to each when other person talks about it. And I don't know how that's going to come about, but that is what is needed. Because the entire civilization, it's not just thousands of years, maybe 20, 25,000 years have gone of human effort have gone into putting it down, of making common life, earning, going out of the house and earning and all that, managing the house has become the priority. And this has not been paid attention to. People don't even know how to talk about it and hear about it and listen about it. So that is the problem which needs to be overcome, I think. And I don't know how it's going to be overcome. That's what I wanted to say.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks for sharing, Ambuj. And when you were talking, I was just getting a thought that also this suppression is also a very big part of the control mechanism, because when people are open and they're expressive, so and when they're free and liberated, they're going to live their lives according to their own terms. So they are not going to follow the terms of the society, of the religion, of the
Yeah,
culture, and blah blah blah. So this suppression is actually a control mechanism, because we are so controlled. We get up in the morning and all we think about is ki, acha ye, all the functional and operational things take, our all our time, rather than, enjoying life, feeling the pleasure, feeling good about it, being alive, being happy, being joyful. Joyful people are not something you can control.
absolutely right. That's so true.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, Vanshika, you want to say something else? Your hand is up. If you're talking, you're on mute. Okay, I'm not sure Vanshika is there.
So I want to add one more thing.
Mhm.
Like today, I felt really good. Like because generally in these calls, women mostly speak up, and like so many males came up and put their part as well. Because I have joined after many days, so I felt really good to that openly they have also shared their point on this.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Thanks to Ambuj, Viresh, and Tejas.
Yeah.
Thanks to you guys. You have spoken, and we are feeling very good about it.
Yeah, because there is no doubt, like they also have their fair share of this pain and suppression, but
Yeah.
generally they don't speak up for so many reasons, or being a man, or they should be strong and shouldn't be vulnerable. So it felt really good, like that we all are evolving collectively.
Yes, yes. I mean, this is so true. The only difference is that women talk about their suffering and men don't. And the biggest thing that men can start doing to bring a collective shift is by talking, being
Yeah,
vulnerable, being opening up. And actually, this is another sign of suppressed feminine energy or suppressed sexual energy, because in women, because we have a more feminine imprint, so हमारे लिए ऐसा होता है that it's easier for us to talk, right, to let it out, because we get so sensitive and emotional and everything. And men, the saddest part is that they suffer in silence, because
yeah, and
unki
also
suppressed. Yeah.
you complete. I'll
Yeah,
go
and
behind.
also this is their suppressed energy, which doesn't allow them to share their emotions and share their situations openly. So इसके लिए women do not get a chance to see it from their perspective, right? So हमें
Right.
कोई chance ही नहीं मिलता कि हम उस चीज को समझ भी पाए. How do we experience that?
Yeah, and also
Yeah,
for them it
so
is
today
part
it
of
was
the
good to know that we also have there is another perspective altogether, because it's never on these open mics about women or men. It's about the not at all gender biased, and it's so good whenever some men take participation, because as a person, as a woman, we and they hardly are taught to be open. So really glad that people have started talking, whether it's on the open mic and even on the WhatsApp group. It's very good, and we should keep up this thing. Sorry, Suchi, or whosoever was speaking, if I have interrupted you.
No, 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 it's perfectly fine. So I was just saying, like for men also, it is part of the conditioning So sorry. So another day I was watching a podcast, and like two men, they were discussing this only, that how they have been conditioned, because like with these statements like कि मर्द को दर्द नहीं होता type से, or be man up and all such things, कि guys shouldn't speak up, like they should be strong enough to deal with this stuff. So it is because of the conditioning as well, like men generally don't speak up on such sensitive topics and put their point.
True. True. Yeah.
Any thoughts
So
from Karma
now,
today? This
Yeah, even I was missing his opinion.
yeah, we're missing your voice, Karma. Where are you?
Hmm. No, I was just listening to this conversation. Nothing, nothing comes to my mind as such. Like I think you are all covering it well enough. So ऐसा कुछ अलग से तो नहीं है, but हाँ, I will say the same thing which you are saying. कि neither these calls nor our platform is gender specific, but women are the only one who are speaking up. So वो ऐसा लगता है कि it's becoming women gender, but लोग क्योंकि जो भी है वो तो अपना ही बोलेंगे ना. Women will speak for themselves. Women are not going to speak on behalf of men, and they are not supposed to. They are not required. तो अगर men feel कि ये ऐसा बनता जा रहा है तो then speak up. Nobody is stopping you, anybody to not speak up. So expecting the women will talk about women and also talk about men, and just sit back and relax and just listen to the conversation. तो ऐसा तो है. It's good that few people have opened up and talked about it because that's the whole point. जिसको जो प्रॉब्लम है वो अपना अपना बोलो. कोई दूसरा क्यों बोलेगा किसी के खिलाफ. और so that's a good thing. कई बार discussions में platform पे भी people say कि I see some men become so bucked and then they kind of blast off. The men also suffer from this. Of course they suffer. Nobody is saying they don't suffer. But then who's going to talk? Whoever is suffering is supposed to talk. कोई रोक थोड़ी रहा है किसी को ना बोलने के लिए. एक्सपेक्टिंग कि सब हम दोनों तरफ का कवर करें तो वो नहीं होता. जिस लोग तो अपना ही खुद का ही कवर करेंगे ना, अपना ही बताएंगे कि दिस इज ऑल अबाउट शेयरिंग पर्सनल एक्सपीरियंस. So if 10 women are sharing personal experience, then it may sound like it is becoming women centric. That's the way it is. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's all, but nothing to add more to what we have already talked, because I think all the points. I don't have any new point to add to it. It was good discussion.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a wonderful discussion. And now coming to little bit on the point of how to heal your sexual blocks, sexual energy blocks. So the first thing that we have already talked about in this call is to first become comfortable with this energy, right? Rather than um, suppressing it anymore. First, at least bringing awareness that okay, I have this suppressed energy and this is not flowing properly in me. So if I talk about
Sorry, one thing I just also remembered.
sure,
Sorry to interrupt you. I noticed one thing. So yes, Ambuj, Krish, and Tejas, they talk. But one thing I noticed, guys, that you still talked on behalf of men. You still didn't talk about you. If you notice that all the other women have been talking about them, that what they have experienced and all. तो झंडा नहीं उठाना है, अपनी अपनी बात करनी. So I still didn't hear any of the men actually talking about their own personal experience. उन्होंने बस झंडा उठाया.
I think Videsh spoke about himself, as far as I remember.
Vinesh talked about the energy and the concepts that he's. So, yes, but you know, like how all the other women have been sharing their own personal experiences and all that. वो detail अभी भी नहीं share from men's side. That is what I am highlighting. तो अभी भी झंडा ही उठता है. तो वो टेंडेंसी देखो. That's all I
You
want to
mean
say.
to say a generalized statement?
हाँ, it's like you know, we want to make a point saying कि not only women go through it, men also go through it. Of course, nobody is denying that. And yet we didn't hear any personal story. I
Yeah,
didn't hear any personal story unless I missed out on it. I don't know.
no,
But
no,
I didn't hear any
no, there
personal
was
story from anyone.
yeah, there was no personal story, and I would appreciate because see, we are not judgmental at all. I mean, we all are opening up about our personal things only. Whether it's any women on this group, they just don't sugarcoat or say it. They just tell their things. And that would be lovely to hear from men also. Because if we want to know the perspective, we want to understand what exactly goes in their life also, or what they have gone through. Journalized, yeah, definitely it was more journalized, not coming from a personal experience.
हाँ, अगर किसी को जैसे somebody was talking about कि स्कूल में ऐसे होता है वैसे होता है. अरे अगर आपके साथ हुआ है तो शेयर करो ना कि ऐसा हुआ है, ऐसा होता है, वो तो सबको ही मालूम है कि ऐसा होता है. Those generalizations is not going to help much in anything because that's just general knowledge. वो तो मालूम है कि ये सब दुनिया में ये सब चीजें होती हैं. वो तो मालूम है. That's true. There is nothing there, nothing. So see this tendency to 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 talk and still not talk. That's what I found. That they talked and still they didn't talk.
Yeah, I was
तो बस
also
मुझे इतना ही
actually
highlight करना.
okay. Thank you so much for doing so.
Hmm. Yes, Sarika, you have your hand up.
Yeah, a question just popped up into my mind. I would like to put it up here. Uh, like, since we are talking about sex and sexuality here, so if suppose any person, a man or a woman, uh,
I
wants
can't hear
to,
her very clearly. Can anybody else confirm that?
Am I audible better, Karna?
Yes, yes. Yes. Now it's better.
is it better?
Yes, it's better. Yes. Can you start again what you were saying?
Yeah, sure. So, since we are talking about sex and sexuality here, so I just wanted to ask a little thing here. Suppose there's a person, a man or a woman, anyone, and he or she wants to have, a relationship with multiple people. Obviously, here we are talking about sexual relationships. Is it like, can it be anyhow justified also? In just the quick answer to what comes into my mind is it is just not justified. There's something wrong there, what comes into my mind. But I wanted to know your opinion as well. Can it anyhow be justified also?
Sorry, I didn't understand what can be justified. I missed that.
if a
What are you
person wants
asking?
to if a person wants to have a relationship, a sexual relationship with multiple people, obviously not hurting the emotions, but yes, wanted to get involved into a sexual act with multiple people.
Okay, okay. Okay. So good. Okay, this is a good question. And yeah, the conversation did get distracted for a little bit. So yes, sexuality. What now? When we talk about sexuality, then it is many versions. Some people are homosexuals, heterosexuals, asexuals, bisexuals. Lots of different types of varieties exist. Out of those varieties, there are many people who can love many people at the same time. Hmm. Now, in our last conversation, we were talking about infidelity. So this might relate to that as well. There are certain norms that exist in our society regarding this, ki what is allowed and what is not allowed and all that. There, we cannot generalize these things, but at the same time, if you and your partner are okay with this, then it's okay. Whatever you do, you make sure that you have the alignment and the buy-in of your partner, because when that doesn't exist, then it becomes infidelity. So cheating is not a good thing to do, hiding things is not a very good thing to do, as long as you are open that this is what you want and your partner is also okay with that. There are many couples and many people in our group, our community only, we talk to, is that that have expressed that they have open relationships, or people who have explored threesomes, foursomes, and multiple partners and all that. But it's all that both the partners have been okay with that, right? So doing things in hiding your own sexuality, hiding it from your own partner, because you feel that it is not acceptable, they will not approve it and all that, is the reason for a lot of problems that get created. And why we have to hide all these things? It's because we ourselves are not aware of our own sexuality, our own orientations, that what is it that I want to do. And because I'm not aware, and when I become aware, I might already be in a relationship, and I might already know that, oh no, this will not be acceptable by my partner. And then things have to be done in hiding, behind the closed doors and all that. So when you ask this question, is it right or is it wrong? It is primarily coming from the angle that that if such kind of things be expressed with the partner, they will not approve it. So now you go in the morality of right and wrong. The moment you express it with your partner and they are okay, nobody will be asking this question to. Because who am I to answer this question as right or wrong? If your partner is okay with it and you're doing it, and they are fine with it, you would not be bothered asking this question to anybody.
I mean, yeah, you are right. But what the practical picture to me is, there are two levels of judgments. एक तो partner, if a person is into a relationship or married, and second level of the society, of course. So
सोसाइटी का कैसे है, मतलब आप ढिंडोरा थोड़ी पीटने वाले हो कि आप ऐसे
हाँ,
कर रहे हो?
exactly. So again,
तो
ढिंढोरा
फिर
नहीं
again
पीटने वाले हो,
सोसाइटी
but then
comes here.
you have to take care कि you have to hide those things. Suppose your partner is also okay with that, but then you're not going to sing around that story. But yes, you need to hide it also, because society का तो norm है कि they set a certain framework कि जो उसमें fit हो रहा है वही सही. मतलब what I look at like that is. बाकी
See,
सब कुछ
that
is not
thing,
right.
yeah, that thing I wouldn't really term as hiding as such, because not only that, you in that way you hide many things. You also hide your
Yeah,
own financial, आपका आज की डेट में बैंक बैलेंस क्या है ये भी तो आप जाके नहीं बताते हो सबको.
yeah, yeah, agree.
So there are many other things also that you are not publicly just going out and telling everything to everyone. So oversharing is also an issue. Oversharing is not a good thing. So हाँ, obviously हम बताते नहीं है, लेकिन अगर कोई पूछता है या someone is curious and they find out and all that, if you accept it and if you are totally okay with it, you will not feel the need to hide it also then. So there is a difference between oversharing, and there is a difference between someone coming to you asking for it, and if you are completely in acceptance to your own truth, आपको कुछ बताने में problem भी नहीं.
All right, all right. So you mean to say, what I have understood is कि if your partner is okay with whatever goes in your mind, whatever kind of a sexuality you hold, if your partner is okay with that, then it is absolutely correct. Nothing can be termed as wrong here. Am I correct?
Yes, yes, as long as you are not hurting the other person who you claim to be in love with and all that, as long as you're not hurting those people by your choices and you're very clear about that, then that's fine.
All right, all right. Thank you for answering.
And
Yes,
can I say, like, if it is, yeah. So I was just trying to understand this, like, to explore it, like maybe with multiple partners. So it must be more of the physical exploration, because I fail to understand, like, can someone have emotional intimacy with more than one people?
yes, people can have that. Yeah, that's their sexual orientation. When I'm talking about you, the exploration word you are talking about is more from key. It's not so much an orientation. It's more of key a need for a variety. कि you just want to आज ये चाट ट्राई करते आज वो चाट ट्राई करते it's not so some people are like foodies
Hmm.
and some people just want to explore कि आज ये भी चाट ट्राई कर
And
लेते
in
हैं आज
fact,
it's a
I'm sorry to
difference that's
interrupt,
the difference
but in fact, ऐसे भी होता है कि people are emotionally attached, they are in love with their partner, but then on their sexual part, maybe they want to explore more, and sometimes, they are not satisfied. It happens with a lot of people. So just for the
Yeah, but
sake of
this
their
is
वो अलग
sexual
है that's
satisfaction.
what I that's no that's not sexual orientation then see that's different that is not
that is
what we
physical
are talking
exploration.
that is कि आपको कोई lack है when I talk about the sexual orientation uh, and and um, and sexuality understand that this is about you there is nothing has to be wrong about you doing it so it could be that you may have a very loving husband and everything is fine and sex life is good and all that but you still want to explore with multiple partners not just
And
because something is wrong is just because this is what your design is.
you can have
That's
emotional
orientation.
intimacy with multiple people, like more than
Yeah,
one.
we all have that. We all have that.
No,
Right now,
we,
you have emotional intimacy with your parents, with your siblings, with your
yeah, but that is
friends.
still different, right? That is not in romantic angle, right? Not in intimate, not in that way, as of partner. So I'm
Right.
I'm trying to understand, like, if someone is involved physically, with
Yeah,
more
yeah,
than.
yeah, yeah. There are people like that. That let's say, for example, bisexuals. Bisexuals will have physical, emotional, all that orientation towards a male and a female. So they will prefer to have both partners in their life. So it could be a person who is happily married, a woman who is very happily married with his husband, but at the same time also want a physical and intimate relationship with another woman. Nothing wrong with their married life, nothing wrong with anything. It's just her biological makeup that she wants that also. It's not that something has to be wrong. If you are exploring this because something is wrong, then that's totally different. That's nothing to do with sexual orientation. That's about wounds. That's about emotional
Uh,
wounds. That's about traumas.
Then,
I'll
then
just
Akarna, how the sex addiction comes, like how it is. I'm a little confused now because then, if you're saying that a person can have multiple partners, whether it's emotional intimacy, whether it's sexual, then what are sex addicts? They are coming from, I mean, how they are then sex addicts? They are maybe
Any
also
kind of any
exploring.
kind of yeah, any kind of addiction when we talk about anything, any kind of addiction, whether it's food, alcohol, drugs, sex, that shows an unhealed part of you. That shows that you desiring something which you're trying to fill using all these mechanisms. सो कुछ तो लैक है कुछ तो कमी है अंदर जो आप कुछ तो वॉइड है जिसको फूड से भर रहे हो अल्कोहल से भर रहे हो स्मोकिंग से भर रहे हो सेक्स से भर रहे हो ड्रग से भर रहे हो किसी भी चीज से भर रहे हो चाहे वो ओवर वर्क से भर रहे हो एडिक्शन indicates a void that we feel or that we try to fill with all these things. That's nothing to do with sexual orientation.
Okay, thank you for making.
I
Anamika, you
just yeah, I just wanted to add something to this conversation that we were having, that in this world, which is kind of infinite in nature, not world but universe, let's talk about, which is infinite in nature. So all sorts of things exist and can exist, right? Be it people having to do with having multiple partners and everything. What's more important is to know yourself, that what do you want. If in case you end up landing with a partner like that, then you know that whether that kind of a relationship would work for you or not work for you, right? What kind of a person you are, and having that clarity that um, what kind of setup would work for you. So we cannot, there is no point, like Sarika asked the question, can it be justified? So it's not about being justified or not justified at all, because because there's nothing that we have to do about it, right? I have like so many friends, trust me, who are yet not married and don't want to get married, and they hook up with like so many different women or men and for all of these things. But that's their life, that's their choice, right? And I am knowing all of those people, I'm pretty sure that they are hurting themselves more in the process, and that's thing. But again, it doesn't come from the point of view whether it is justified or not justified, because हमें झंडा लेने की कोई जरूरत नहीं है, right? It's not our job to make these kind of judgments whether this is right or wrong, because all sorts of things can exist in this world, right? And it's their journey. So maybe as a friend, I can tell them that, I can ask them questions that, are you happy, or is this really making you happy and all that. But who am I to tell anybody anything, right? So it's not about being justified or not justified. It is more about that you decide what do you want for yourself, and let other people decide what they want for themselves, right? So yeah, that's what I wanted to add to this part.
Now we are talking about multiple partners and all that, and this is one. But then there are type of people who we call asexual, who don't even want to have sex with one person also. They are actually not interested in having sex at all. So अभी तो हम मल्टीपल की बात कर रहे हैं, उनको तो सिंगल से भी नहीं चाहिए. सो दिस इज देयर सेक्सुअल ओरिएंटेशन. इसमें कोई वून नहीं है, इसमें कोई ये नहीं है कि उनको कोई ट्रॉमा हुआ था या उनको कोई ऐसा उनको कोई सेक्सुअल अब्यूज हुआ था जिसकी वजह से. No, they could be very healthy individuals, just don't want it.
And it's not
So
even about suppression of energy as well.
it's not even about suppression of anything. They're very happy. They're just very happy having a emotionally intimate relationship with another person. उनको साथ बस cuddle कर लिया, हाथ पकड़ लिया, ये कर लिया, वो कर लिया. They are very fine with that. They are totally okay with that. उनको उनको sex में interest है ही नहीं. This is how they are. Just like कि we are heterosexuals and some people are homosexuals. The same way some people are asexual. उनको उसमें कुछ प्रॉब्लम नहीं, जबरदस्ती प्रॉब्लम ढूंढने की जरूरत नहीं है कि ट्रॉमा हुआ होगा, ये हुआ होगा, वो हुआ होगा, इसलिए नहीं. दे आर जस्ट लाइक दैट, उनका वही मेकअप है. नाउ द प्रॉब्लम कहाँ पे होती है? प्रॉब्लम यहाँ पे होती है कि इफ दे डोंट अंडरस्टैंड दिस अबाउट देमसेल्व्स एंड देन दे मैरी अ पर्सन, दैट इज वेयर द प्रॉब्लम. क्योंकि उन्होंने अपने आप को समझा नहीं ठीक से. अब उन्होंने जब मैरिज की तो ऑब्वियसली द पार्टनर विल एक्सपेक्ट ऑल दैट. तो अब तो उसकी भी लाइफ खराब हो गई ना, क्योंकि they didn't understand this about themselves. And now when they have to do like someone used the word duty sex or something like that, now and then they have to do that, this will create trauma for them. Now this will create a toxic relationship, and this will create a problem with for the partner also. So not understanding our own sexuality and then going into a relationship and then imposing um, our preferences on the other person is the problem. So पता होना चाहिए कि ऐसा है, and then discuss this with your partner and explain to them कि this is what है. And if they say कि हाँ ठीक है, I'm okay with that, and and you know that it's totally fine. Now sometimes these couples they also decide कि ठीक है, I know कि I cannot provide sex in the marriage, but then they make a deal. ठीक है, if you find another partner who is who's open to give you and you are okay with that, then they make that arrangement, so that way again between couple, and it's an open communication and understanding between the couple ki, I can't do this, but I know that my partner has this need and I can't stop them from having it also. You cannot, then if the partner is going and finding sex somewhere else and then you calling it infidelity or something, these things create toxicity. So it has to be openly discussed, fully understood. या तो ऐसे relationships में ही मत घुसो, या अगर घुस रहे हो और वो है और उसको बनाना है तो figure out a way that it becomes healthy and harmonious for everyone. Everyone's needs need to be कंसिडर्ड, नॉट कि मैं तो ऐसा हूं या मैं तो ऐसी हूं और ये तो मेरा है, अब तुम देख लो अपना, और एंड आई डोंट वांट यू टू डू दिस और दैट एंड ऑल दैट, तो ये सही नहीं है ना. सो थिंग्स हैव टू बी वर्कड आउट, and they only when you accept and understand your own sexuality, your own orientation towards things, and make sure that you discuss this with your partner and make sure that they also fully understand and are okay with this, and then you have a healthy solution for this, then a relationship can be sustainable. Otherwise toxic banegi hi banegi. That's all from my side.
Yeah, yeah, right. So yeah, that's your sexual energy is beautiful, beautiful energy. And even if, like Akarma was talking about asexual, so they also are people who have sexual energy. Everybody has sexual energy. You cannot be alive without this energy, right? This is life force. So now the thing is that their expression is not sex. Likewise, everybody's expression could be different. And to know your own expression, to understand your own expression, you need to understand and talk to this energy, and communicate to this energy, and go deeper into understanding ki what are your blocks, where are they coming from. And if you really want to get deeper into this exercise, then I would suggest that your sexual energy is embodied in the pelvic region of your body, right? So you can just close your eyes, you can sit down, and you can start to see that, start talking to your different parts in the pelvic region, and see how they feel. Do they feel tight? Do they feel light? Do they feel free? You can also do that exercise that I was sharing, just to do a check for yourself whether this energy is open in you or suppressed in you. So you just go close your room, stand naked alone in front of the mirror, and see how you feel towards your body, right? And that would bring out whether you have actually healed your sexual energy, or there are still some blockages. If there are blockages, then start connecting and finding out what these blockages are, where they come from, because this is something which is not just impacting your relationship, but this is something which impacts your whole life. So usually when we talk about sexual energy, we call the sacral chakra, kind of the sexual chakra. But it's not only there, because if we talk about the hara area, like I was talking about, or the kundalini, the serpent energy first starts with the root, right? So the root chakra is the first chakra with which we come on earth, and that energy is there in your whole pelvic region, and it is the same energy which has the power. Like in the Shakti Element retreat, we do this meditation called pleasure meditation. So using the same energy to clear all the blockages in your body. So when the kundalini starts moving in the body, it goes to different places and cleanses all the blockages that are there in different places in your energy body. So first become aware what kind of blockages do you have, whether they are major, whether they are minor, whether they are about the belief system that you carry, the taboos that you carry, the incidents that have happened with you. What is this thing, right? So also, like, emotionally connect with this, all of this. And like Seema was mentioning tantra, so tantra is so beautiful because it doesn't disregard body. So in a lot of culture and a lot of religions, we see that the body is disregarded as something which, life is a sin, life is a punishment. But in Tantra, if we see, we connect too much to the body, and we go by this understanding that the body is the vehicle. It's the main form through which we can transcend it. So we don't disregard the body, we actually integrate the body, right? So until you're disconnected to the body, you won't be able to find the answers, because the answers are hidden within your body system. So use it, connect with this energy, and trust me, I am not just talking from my experience, but I'm talking by the experience of so many people, and people who have attended the Shakti Element retreat, people whom I have personally worked with, women I have worked with. Once these channels open and the energy starts flowing, miraculous things start unfolding in your life, be it related to your family life, your money life, your career life, your creativity. Everything starts expanding, because this energy in itself is movement. And when it is stagnated, the movement stops in your life. So you're kind of stuck, and you're kind of um, suppressed in the system. But opening up, this whole energy can create such kind of a blast and explosion in you, that a lot of things would start flowing within you and in your life as well. So use this energy, connect with these energies, contemplate a little bit more on what kind of blocks you have, work on clearing those blocks through your emotions, connecting to the body. You can also start doing some physical activities. You can start moving your body. You can start dancing or exercising, yoga, or just moving, the pelvic region, just dancing. So that would help you stir the energy over there, which is stagnant from such a long time. So that was a little bit on how you can connect with this energy, and also how do we heal the collective. So before we heal the collective and whatever is happening in the society, even if it is about passing it on to your children, you first have to connect with this energy personally. So personal work is collective work. So when you personally work and come with this energy, and you personally come in alignment with this energy, you already have worked on the collective level, on the societal level, right? So that much is your work. So yeah, that's a little bit from my side on how to you can connect with this energy. Yeah, Shuchi, you want to say something?
Yeah, so I just wanted to add to your point. So as you mentioned, right, like, so I have attended Shakti 11. So I just want to mention it to all of you. Like, I also have experienced the difference myself. Like, how this energy, like, uh, uh, the difference inside my body itself, like when it was stagnant, when I had no understanding of it, and after it's been activated through Shakti element, like how I experienced few things that I was never even aware exist, like the flow of energy and all such things. So I just wanted to add to Anamika's point from my personal experience.
Yeah, thank you so much, Shuchi, for adding it. Yeah, and even in many with many people, we have like heard so many different stories of um, things, how things start happening, which were not happening before. So um, so it's obvious that the outside world is a mirror of your inside world. So when this energy starts moving, movement automatically starts happening in your life, because we live in kind of a mirror world. So yeah, that's that on the sexual energy healing part. And yeah, we will have this conversation. We'll have a few more calls about sexual orientations and sexual preferences, because I feel that uh, a lot of people need to dig a little deeper into those topics. So in the future conversations, we're definitely going to talk more about it.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So whatever Akarma has explained was really insightful. Like it has given another level of clarity to me. So yeah, those topics will add if we discuss further.
yeah, yeah, we will talk more about it. Cool. So let's wrap up this call, guys. It's 9 almost. So we'll see you all next week. Thank you so much, all of you, for joining.
Thank you,
And thank you
everyone.
so
Thank
much,
you,
Good
all of
Priyanka.
you,
night.
for sharing.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
everyone.
Thanks,
Thank you
Thank
so
guys.
you.
much.
Thanks, guys.
Good
Good
night.
night.
Bye.
Bye.